So I'm going to talk briefly about France Angels and try to tell you where we are and what kind of challenges we have in front of us, in my mind. And I think they are quite pervasive in Europe, and we should, from there, have a discussion about European business angels in general. And I will, if you accept that I do it now, or if you prefer I do it later, talk about my own experience as a business angel. And you want to cover that now or later on?
You can do it now as well if you want.
Okay, good.
You have 15 minutes, so you decide your time, you know.
Okay, good. Okay, so France Angels is the federation. We have only one in France. We are a small country. I know some smaller countries that have up to three federations. In France, we have only one. And we cover, so most of the business angels are grouped in either a business angel network or in what I call an angel fund, or a CIBA in French. So most of the, or maybe total number of business angels are, in fact, members of France Angels. So for the time being, we have 85 business angel networks, which are covering around 4,500 business angels. So the average is around 50 in a network, but it can vary from 30 to 150 and even one big in 200. Most of the networks are regionally based, but some of them now, more and more, I don't know if it happens here as well, are industry sector specialized, and for software, for medical, for environment. And more and more we have networks that are dedicated to alumni of a big school, of a high school or university. And so we have three kinds of networks developing. And this is growing a little bit. What is more growing now is the number of business angels. We still grow 15% per year. We hope to grow even more next year, so that we would challenge a little bit the Brits that still have a little bit more angels than we have at this time, to our knowledge at least. We have more and more angel funds. I don't know if you have that here. More and more the networks which are basically sharing the due diligence among the individual business angels. More and more they want to invest together, and they want to create an angel fund which is connected with the network, which is bringing some additional investment capacity to the network. And this is really now the trend. Each network has developed one or two angel funds connected with it, with the same deal flow, with most of the shareholders of the angel funds are also members of the bands. And that's more a kind of co-investment vehicle for the network, but with the same shareholding than the network itself. So we have 46 of them now. We have now, on top of this 85 plus 46, which is around 130 members of the federation, we have associate members. Most of the VC that are investing in the early stage are also associate members of the of France Angels, and this is very good for the strategy of trying to know more each other and co-invest more and more. And on top of that, we have associate members that are professional in law firms or in CPAs or whatever. So this is really what we want to, what we can say about the membership. The activity last year was that we had around 6,000 deals coming in, and we invested around 320 deals, sometimes co-invested, so we have to be careful not to count twice the investments. And in total, we have a global number of around 1,500 of companies that have been invested over time by business angels that are monitored more or less by the network and supported. We have the average size of a deal looks like the one that was reported for the UK, and Scotland is between 150 to 200 K euros per deal, and we have 50% of the business angels that are investing. This is very important in that even if you have 4,500 business angels in the networks, they are not all investing in a particular year. They might wait the next year to invest. They didn't find where to invest, or they didn't like because they are just learning about business angels. So only 50% have invested, and in average, when they invest around 2 times a year, and which means around 40 to 50,000 euros per business angels. Probably a little lower than what we see in the UK, and approximately the average of what we know in Belgium, for example, or in other countries that we deal with typically. So this is the average size of investment. We have a lot of investment, co-investments among business angel networks, but also with the angel funds and with some public funds, early stage, that are now a part of our ecosystem. Just to remind the tax break in France, which is completely changing at this time, really at this time. Today, there is the voting of the mixed, what we call a mixed commission between the Senate and the Assembly, and they will decide about the new tax break for next year. So I don't know the result of it. We have to wait. So tax break at this time are 20%, 22% on income tax. There used to be 25, that has been decreased. The maximum was 10,000 euros, the cap, and now it's decreased to 9,000. The tax break on ISF also, which is our wealth tax, which was very high with 75% tax break, is now decreased to 50%. And the cap is also decreased 10% from 50,000 euros to 45,000 euros. This might decrease even more, and some people feel that the ISF tax break will disappear next year. The new ISF anyway will be decreasing, so we'll pay less taxes, so we have less deduction, which is quite normal. We have today, if you look at how many people did benefit from the tax breaks, it's a very high number. It's 70,000 people that use the tax breaks, but in fact, for us, they are not really business angels. Some of them are becoming business angels, so it's a positive side of the tax break. But the tax break has been so high that a lot of people used it just for deducting from their taxes with no intention to really be a business angel, meaning supporting over time the company and helping them with their own network. So that has been positive in bringing some new business angels, but a lot of negatives because the market was completely disturbed by that high tax break. The valuation of companies was very high, increased because the people that had so high tax breaks, they didn't care about the real valuation of a company. They wanted the tax deduction, that's all. So there was a disturbance of the market completely. The image also of the business angel community was really badly hurt because for a lot of people, including the government, they assumed that 70,000 people that that used the tax breaks were business angels. So we were the leader by far, even more than the British, and so we didn't need to have any more support to business angel, which is wrong because in fact they are not business angel, they are not tax deducted. So the image was distorted in the direction of business angel equals tax deducted deduction. In the cannot read that really. The government funding has been increasing at the beginning. The government has been subsidizing the creation of networks for the first 3 years, and also started to subsidize a little bit France Angels at the beginning 10 years ago. Now this is going down, and it's even now no more existing for France Angels. And the government support, with all the crisis that we have around Europe, will certainly decrease in every country, and we cannot count on that anymore. What we had was a kind of equity participation of the largest public bank in France, which is CDC, in the capital, in the equity of the angel funds, but only of the large angel funds, because of their own criteria. Only 5 out of the 46 I was talking about have been able to get some equity participation from CDC. So it's really a minor approach. The second is the public guarantee. We had a public guarantee by OSEO, which is a public organization as well, for the angel funds. But that has been stopped last year, beginning of this year, for the funds that were also benefiting or making their shareholders benefit from tax deduction. So finally, this is only a handful of angel funds that still have that guarantee. So it's disappearing progressively. What is increasing is the number of co-investment funds. You were talking about that a little earlier. This year is the year of the creation of most of the regional co-investment funds, where 50% of the money will come from the region itself and 50% from the European Union. And they would co-invest 1-for-1 pari passu with the business angels. This is at the regional level, and on top of that, using the great loan which is now existing, the early stage fund, will have a large 50 million euros, around 50 million euros co-investment fund at the national level as well. So this is developing, and this is probably going to replace the direct government funding that we had before. Just a word on what is the federation in our mind, the France Angels. What do? We promote and we develop the number of business angels. Since the beginning of France Angels, the number of business angels have come from 700 to 4,500 now. It's still growing around 15% per year because of our promotion, because of our communication around France and outside. We are more and more involved in all the ecosystem. We are really now recognized as an important step in the development of innovation and economic creation of jobs, and we are involved more and more, and we represent the business angel community in those different instances. We are obviously involved a lot in lobbying for at the same time tax deduction for business angel and also a good environment for startups. As you know, in France we have a very good system of deduction of R&D costs which is called CIR, which a lot of countries would like to have at the time when we might decrease it because of budget constraints, where 30% of the R&D cost of a startup can be paid back by the government, which obviously is a big incentive for R&D in France. We have also the possibility for innovative startups to have a deduction of social costs by far, instead of 45% going down to 15%, where if the company is recognized as a young, innovative company, which is quite restricted, but very important for the companies in which we invest. So those two tax deductions is very important for development of innovation in France, and we hope this will survive the change of government that we might have in next year. The challenges, I think they are probably more than just in France. We have still to maintain the momentum of development of business angels, and particularly also on the rate of investment, in spite of a deduction, a decrease in the tax break environment. And this is a big challenge. We don't know what will happen if the tax break is suddenly either decreased or cancelled. We hope this will not have a major impact down, but we don't know. The sustainability of business angel networks is a big issue. To date, the business angel networks have part of their money coming from government or regional subsidies. This will decrease because of budgetary constraints, whether some, like in the UK, I was told that half of the networks in the UK will certainly disappear because of this stopping of the regional subsidies. So they will have half of the, suddenly, of the networks disappearing. We hope this will not happen in France and in other countries, but all the government subsidies or regional will be decreased, that's sure, in the near future. The big issue today is the financial capability of our business angel network to sustain the growth of our startups. Up to now, we found the money to invest the first round with co-investments of any nature. But now the second and third round are coming up, and we lack money for that. Co-investment funds are probably going to help, but it's probably not enough, because at the same time, the venture capital community is investing later and later because of restriction of of the regulation of banks and insurance companies. So the equity gap is growing, and we have now to find the way to continue funding the startup in which we invested at the beginning. This is a major challenge in which we are today working a lot in France, and I think it's a general issue. The exit challenge is a big issue in France today. The IPO is very difficult for small companies, even for big ones, but for small companies. So now it's later and later that we can really exit from our investment. Just for my own case, I have invested in 19 companies, and I have only 3 exits up to now. Some of them, some companies I invested in 2004, so I'm there since 7 years. And I hope next year I will be able to get out of it, but I'm not sure at all. I have to find a buyer, or I have to find a way to go to IPO. So that's a big issue. Some of them I have no problem because they are broke anyway. So I exited forcefully. So that's a big issue everywhere. The issue of the super angels, yes, super angel or angel entrepreneur funds. We have more and more now entrepreneurs coming from the internet world that made quite a lot of money and want to invest in innovative startups of their own field. Some of them we work very well with them. Some of them are more taking the good deals out of us and are more competing with us than really reinforcing our financial capability. Whether this will go in one direction or not is a big issue today. And the last point I wanted to mention is the professionalization of business angel. That's the thing I'm in charge in EBAN. It's really for us very important that we progressively, not becoming professionals ourselves, but using the method of professional more and more to increase our image of seriousness, of consistency of our approach. And today, it's not the case. So for the public sector who wants to co-invest with us, if we don't improve our image by improving our professionalization, we are probably going to have less and less possibility to have co-investments with the public sector. So this is very important, a challenge not only in France, in all the countries. Okay, I think it's the end of it. Thank you for your attention. Just 2 words on my own experience. 19 investments, 5 down already, a 6th one close to. 2 plus 1 exit. I mean, 1 exit, which was a very good one. After 2 years, we went to an IPO, second market, at a multiple of between 4 and 5 after 2 years. It's not too bad. I made a wrong decision because I didn't sell all my shares at that time. And so I kept my shares, and shares went down. So I kept part of it. So I made a multiplied 2. And if I now sell at the price where it is today, I will make a 3 or 4 instead of 5. But that's not too bad. And it's in the environment issue, in environment sector. Remarkable, after 2 years, we went IPO with 0 revenue. And for 5 years, we had 0 revenue. And we still, today, have very little revenue, but people are betting on the future, certainly. The second exit has been after 7 years of a painful development where I had to become the chairman because the founder had to be fired. He was not performing. He didn't want to hire a second number 2 that he missed, and we had to push him out. And I took the chairmanship, and then we took another one from the market as a CEO. And this one didn't perform after 3 years. He was putting a little money in his pocket instead of the pocket of the company. So we had to fire him again. And then I became again the chairman of the company for 2 years before we finally decided and found a way to sell. That was, after 7 years of hard work, I made it multiply by 2. So I don't think it's a good one. Okay, so sometimes you have to spend much more time you would expect for little, and sometimes after 2 years, suddenly IPO multiplied by 5, very good deal, but that's not very often. Okay, thank you.